So what it's done is sewn off in a neutral shade, an outline stitch around each of the pieces that are going to be put down. So I know this is what I talked about in the other video. This way I know exactly what size the piece should be and where I'm going to put it. Now, the first piece is going to be this piece on the dress here. And again, I can continue with the neutral shade of, because these threads are going to be covered up. So let's start with a dark blue here for this edge. Nice thing about batik is that it's the same on both sides. There's no right or wrong side to it, so if you put it down the wrong way, it's not going to matter. And all right, so this piece is going to get folded this way. So I need to put it on this side of the sewing line. And then this gets folded over this direction and finger pressed on that seam, and then the next line gets sewn. And that line gets trimmed. So what you have here then is a nice edge on this side, as if it were sewn to the fabric. Two pieces were put together and sewn. And that's kind of what I was talking about. There's more than one way to do this kind of thing. So let me show you what the next piece. Again, now the next piece is going to get folded this way. So, because I want all the raw edges to end at the very end here, which will get covered with a stem stitch. So let's put this down to about there. And fold this over this direction, and again this row gets covered with stem stitch. So this doesn't work on curves because you can't cut them. If you have flat, straight edges, this method works fine. You could do the whole quilt this way, ending up with one raw edge at the place where you join it to the next block. see up there. Okay. I need to take that out and twist it a little bit because I didn't get close enough. Okay. Doesn't matter because that, again, that rise is going to get covered by the next piece of fabric. All these pieces are going to get folded in this direction now. So let's try a kind of a medium bluish sort of thing. And it's going to go all the way up to there. And then it gets folded over this way. Again, you have your nice flat seams. And I need one more blue. And so, how about this one? It's an interesting blue. And it's going to get sewn on this edge first. And it has to go all the way up. This gets folded over. All these sections look as if they had been sewed together, you know, with your 1/4 inch seam allowance and then put down, but actually they're sewn in the hoop. And you can design a whole quilt this way, but because this has so many curves in it, I have to do this with, as I say, that's fine. And since the majority of your quilts do not have a lot of curves, so you could do that with most quilt designs, you know, log cabins and I think flying geese, whatever, all the different kinds. But if there's curves, you're going to have to use something else because you'll have to cover it with stem stitch. All right, so next one is the trumpet, and that's going to be really bright gold. So let's just, and no, I didn't press this. And the next one's going to be her wing, and I'm tempted to do that with the gold as well, but I think I'll do it with the other gold. And I don't have brown for her hair, so I'm going to do that with a brownish gold that I used on the wheat. Okay, let's take you out of the way so you can see what we're doing here. Okay. And just need some trimming in here. Okay. So what's next is wings. Okay, so as I say, that's going to be the other kind of gold. I could do white. Oh, certainly no, I have plenty of white fabric. Just didn't put any of it out. So why not silver? Let's do silver. And we'll do the wrong side of the silver so it's not quite so bright. Some lights on. I can't see. There's a small area in here I got to clip with really small scissors. Okay, good enough. And the next one is her hand. don't have any. The corner is more pink than purple. Well, as I say, I'm not going to be really using this, so we'll just go with what we got. Face, well, let's go with this edge here. Sound like this sounds funny. Let me make sure it's threaded right. I can tell from noises when my machine isn't doing what it's supposed to. And I kind of think it's the bobbin. Sometimes the bobbin jumps out of its guide. Don't know why. Don't know how it could even do that, but it does. I guess it gets stressed. When we're at it, let's trim this. So, next color is sleeve, which is blue. All this shedding. All right, so we didn't use this one. Let's try. It's almost like the same as that one. Let me get another different one. And it doesn't need to go out that far. Okay, and next is her cape, which I'm going to do red. Okay, so just going to go over this area here to the bottom down there. And yes, I did not iron the fabric again. And I need another piece of bread yet. That much should do it. If I didn't lose it. There it is. And I need to trim a little bit right here at the neck. Small with the scissors. Okay. And this goes over this section right here. There's a piece. Okay. Now it wants to do her hair. Okay, so that's, I'm going to be using this gold here again. And her hair is pretty long there. Okay. Now, at this point we have all the fabric down and can go in and do either leave it as a quilt top, or I'm going to slip some batting underneath it and show you what I was talking about with the batting. And so get a piece. All right, so I got a piece of fabric to use as a backing fabric, and I got a piece of batting which is pretty sure larger than, yeah, it's larger than I need. And so these are going to go underneath the hoop. Now I have the hoop off, so I'm just going to turn it over just to make, but generally I just slide it underneath the hoop without taking the hoop off. But it's going to lay like this with the batting and then the lining fabric. Now you can put some pins in it to hold it, but as I say, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to, it will move around on the table without, especially after it starts to sew, without it getting any, without it getting messed up. So I can feel it's, and I don't see anything out of the ordinary with it, so I'm just going ahead and go ahead. Now, I put some quilting in the cape, the wings. I don't have to do those. I could just go right to the stem stitch, and go from there. But just to show you options that you have and to remind me what options I have, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So the wing's white, and I could do just a white stitch on it, or I can do a different color stitch on it. And I think I'm going to do, that's too close to her hair color. Something maybe like a light blue on it. Let's see. Let's do a light blue on it, since she's predominantly blue anyway. And it's on silver. I like blue and silver together. Blue and gold looks good together too, but as I say, her hair is gold, and I don't want it getting too, there's something there. Most of those are just going to get covered up when I do the stem stitch. Most of them, all of them. But most of this, anything a phrase sticking out from the stem stitch you can cut off afterwards, or it will just go away. It'll fray itself to death. Alright, so. But because I have batting under this should give it almost kind of like three-dimensional. It'll puff it up a little bit. And I just chose a decorative stitch to put in there. That's the wing. Now the next thing is I'm going to put some decorative stitching in the red section too. But I'm going to use a different color. Let's go with, this is kind of a burgundy purple. What they call a Roman purple. Means it's a reddish purple. So it should be in the same family as what we're doing here, which is reds, blues, a little bit of gold and silver thrown in. Okay. But as I say, you want to make a small banner or even a large banner, you can do the same thing. make a large paper template with the pieces, and just cut large pieces of fabric and use your paper kind of the same way as I did with the first sewing with those lines, and use your paper and sew right down through the paper. You can tear the paper away afterwards. Put down your backing fabric, your paper on top of it, cut your pieces to match it. Those sections, lay them down, or not cut them, just lay them down and sew across them, pin them down, and then afterwards you can take your paper out, or it'll lay between the layers. These areas here, because of the close stitching in there, they're going to be flatter than these areas. And when the background is stippled, that also will be flatter. So the angel's dress and face and trumpet and hair will kind of be raised up higher and pop out more. If I hadn't done this to the wings and the cloak, they also would have been higher than the background. Just depends on what you want, what look you're looking for. No reason why you can't press sections even while it's in the hoop. It's a large enough hoop that you can put an iron on there and press these flat if you wanted to. Now it's going to do the stem stitch. And it's going to start again with the farthest away, which is the trumpet. And I just pick a gold here. Now, if I had wanted her to have eyes, I could have programmed that in, an eyes and mouth, but I didn't. It's sort of abstract anyway, so. It's the right color gold to match your hair. I think the hair is one of the last things to get sewn. Because it's on top of the face and the wings and the cape. Alright, next is flesh color. It's going to be a pinkish. think I'm going to do the wing with the same blue that I digitized on it instead of white or silver, just because. I keep a bag here that I put all the threads that I cut off into, and well, you saw me use those threads in the making the Christmas ornaments, but I've used them for other things too, for designs. You can put them in designs. I did that in a lesson once with the class. I'll have to try it again. And the next is all the outfit, which I think I'm going to do the same thing. It's either that or a dark blue. I think I want to do a dark blue. How dark a dark blue? If you ever want me to show you how to digitize something, just let me know. Send me an email, make a comment. And next is red, so I guess I'll use that burgundy, that Roman purple again. Most of the threads that I use are Metler, also known as Isacord. Same company, same colors, same numbers. I do use some big cones that are from Add Melody. Isacord also makes them big cones. But I have a lot of Add Melody used up, so. a hair. And I'm going to use that gold again. It matched pretty well. Though probably a dark brown. I think I'm going to use a dark brown. It's always telling me to either raise or lower the pressure plate. Wait, if it's raised, it wants me to lower it, and if it's lowered, it wants me to raise it. Okay, so it's all done except for the background. Now, again, I'm going to have it quilt the background, stippling. And I think I'm going to use, a blue, but not a really dark blue. Medium blue, kind of like what I used for the darker than that. Depends, if you wanted it not to show up, you wanted it quilted but not show, you would go with this color. Let's go with something close to that color. Color I use very often, so I should have a pretty good sized spool of it. It's a little bit darker. And I probably will not have you watch the whole process. I'll watch you the beginning and the end of it. But there's not much point in you seeing the whole thing, which is going to take a half an hour. So I'll maybe start with 5 minutes and end with 5 minutes. And all the middle cut out. That's about 4 more minutes. It's almost finished the stippling, and then it has to put the outside border on it. Now you could leave the border off if you plan to, link blocks together, or I'm going to put a border on it. Again, with any design, you can skip things. If you put them in the design, you can always skip over them. So again, here's the design. You can see it. Maybe if I changed this so that the sun isn't behind it. I'll take a photograph of it anyway. But I could have made the stippling come in closer here to her clothing just by adjusting the line there. Same with here with the trumpet around the back. Also, there you can see it could be trimmed down a little bit better here. Using satin stitch instead of stem stitch would have made it look much neater. But again, that's easy to go in and just change from one stitch to the other if I were going to use this again. And I think I may do that before I put it up with the free stuff. But yes, and the back of it looks like this. You can see where there is no stippling as opposed to areas where there is sewing. I need to adjust the tension. It shouldn't be showing that much red at the bottom. But important thing is it's not showing white at the top. So, all right, so try it.